Yeah, the shining golden signs. Let your inner sparking night. Fat and treasure, growing bright.
Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Kamen Spike, back again once again. And today, people, today we're here for the first episode debut of Kamen Rider Zeztz. He is finally here, man. He's finally here, and this episode was actually pretty cool. It had me like going, what, huh? Like at like a lot of points in this episode, and the whole concept of this new rider is dreams / like lucid dreaming, just dreams in general, and the whole thing about, you know, making your dreams come true. That's our concept for this season, and I think I'm gonna like it. I think I'm so far. I like our main character. I like Zeztz. I like him so far. Like he's quirky and stuff like that, but maybe he'll be like a Shoma, where he's like, you know, he can be silly and things like that, but when he gets serious, when he needs to get serious, he'll get serious. And I think he's going to be that way. We got sort of another like badass kind of character. I mean, I feel like he got some Geats vibes. Like he's got some Ace vibes going on, especially with like the secret agent fit. And we see that he's really big into secret agent type stuff. Like, you know, that's like a dream he actually wants to be, and it technically came true in this episode. But yeah, he's really big into being like, you know, a secret agent. But we see that in the real world, we see he's just another brother down on his luck, and you know, he's living with his little sister, and you know, she tries to get him to, you know, just, hey, dreams are just dreams. Save dreams for bedtime, you know, save that for that, like, you know. And then, you know, you got that little sister who's like doesn't really understand like your thought process and stuff like that. So it's that classic trope. But I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna like Minami. I don't know for sure yet, but maybe, you know, because Sachika's still number one. But hey, maybe Minami will come in here and, you know, do some work or whatever. Maybe she'll grow on me. But yeah, we see that Zeztz is just a dude. He's down on his luck and things like that. And we see that for some reason, like, we talk to like these two, we end up seeing these two cops, and they're basically investigating like these cases called the black cases, where bad things are happening to people, like unexplainable, like, you know, deaths and accidents and stuff like that are happening, but no one can explain how they happen. But then we see that Zeztz ends up getting into one of those accidents when he tries to save a little girl. Technically, we don't know what happened to that little girl after that. We don't know what happened, but apparently he was talking to this little girl at this, basically he was trying to get a job, and this little girl was there, and there's this man sitting like behind her, and after he goes to, you know, to his interview and things like that, the man kind of like walks away with the little girl. And then later on, like a few seconds later, you see the mom coming in, like, and she's trying to find her daughter. So Zeztz goes to find the little girl. He sees the guy with the little girl, and then she runs off. And then, you know, he runs to go get her, and he's like, hey, don't go with her, don't go with him. And then he ends up getting hit by a Hummer. Out of all cars, why you got hit by a big yellow Hummer? Like, I used to want one of those as a kid. I used to younger. I used to really want one of those things, but I heard they're terrible for the freaking environment. But yeah, he ends up getting hit, and then when they run, and then one of the cop dudes, he runs in to see if Zeztz is okay, but then he opens the door to the Hummer, and there's no driver. So basically, he has been a victim of another black case, and he does survive. You know, he does survive, but his sister comes into the hospital, and she's like, you know, they said that you got to this accident because you were trying to save a little girl. And then we find out, from his sister, we find out that Zeztz has bad luck. He has really bad luck. Like, we see like these different articles and these different things and these like different little points in his life, but they're written down, but these different points in his life where he's gone through a bunch of tragic accidents. And his sister's really harsh. You know, she literally says the gods have given up on you. Like, why would you say that to me? I'm in a hospital bed almost dead, and you're just like, and that's what you say to me? I'm your brother. But hey, brother, my sisters are pretty mean to me too sometimes. All three of them. But yeah, and she knows, she's like, you've lived through all those close calls. Isn't that something that you'd be happy about? Like, isn't that enough? He's like, yeah, I guess, but like, I want to make my dreams like come true. Like dreams aren't just dreams. And his sister's like, save that for bedtime. But we see that there, we had our villain, the guy who's basically initiating all the black cases, but he's like the guy, the man dressed in the white with the hair, the hair. And apparently he's the one that's like releasing like these nightmares and causing these bad things to happen. And the camera work and like the cinematography and like some of the stuff, like some of the transitions, like when we pan to another scene, like it feels like so surreal, because it's like a snap. It's like you're snapping into the next scene. There's not really a actual transition. You just snap into it. Like 1 minute we're in a building, next minute we're outside, and I'm like, how did we get outside? Like that's the type of thing that it's doing right now. And he's the one that basically releases like the gun nightmare, because he's basically he's a nightmare with a bunch of guns, and he's basically the gun nightmare. And then he wakes up, we see that Zeztz wakes up in the hospital and stuff, but he's being attacked by the gun nightmare. And this nightmare is like he wakes up in the hospital, but there's like no one there, and he's running from this monster, and for some reason like there's no one around, and he's running and being ported in all kinds of different locations. Like he's in the hospital at one point, and then he's outside in the city, and then he's like in his room, and like he's running down this hallway, like, and he ends up running through this door that has it's like this really strange looking white door, and it has like a statue of like a woman on the top and another statue of a woman at the bottom, but they're like attached to the door. And then the door has 2 door knobs, and it's like the weirdest door I've ever seen in my life. But it's a dream. We all see weird things when we look in our dreams, and that's what makes this cool. We all see weird, surreal type of things. Like dreams can, like, you could do any, like, your dreams can make you see and feel anything. I'm getting too philosophical, but I'm getting too deep into it. But he runs through this door, and he ends up while he's running from the monster, and he ends up back in the place that he was in his dream when the episode first started. Like, he was a secret agent, and he was saving this girl and stuff like that. He was fighting all the bad guys and stuff like that. He had like that old timey gun, that old retro gun. Like, it was dope. And he ended up back there, and then when he's fighting the monster, and the monster is like talking down to him, he starts to take control of the dream, and he ends up turning into his dream self, which was the secret agent, because he realized that, hey, I must have dozed off at some point, which means this is a dream, which means I don't have to be afraid of you anymore, because this is my mind, and I could take control, and I could do anything I want to you. And he's like, yeah, that's true, but this monster is like, screw that. So he's back to being his like secret agent self, but he's not able to beat the monster. He's getting his butt kicked. And then out of nowhere, we see that the headquarters place where Commander Zero is, he said this place exists within your subconscious mind. And we see the bike, we see Commander Zero, but he's like encased in darkness. We just see like a silhouette of a guy, and that's when he ends up he said, this is your mission, and he ends up giving him a suitcase with the driver in it. And when he gives him the driver, that's when all kinds of badassery happens. So he ends up taking the driver, putting the driver on, and I'm still trying to get used to the whole, I'm sort of used to it, but we're gonna have to get used to him putting his driver on around his chest. But yeah, it was dope. He finally hinges up, and he's actually fighting and like defending himself from the monster as he transforms. And it was like this transformation sequence was amazing. It was simple, but I really liked it. I love the neon. I'm a rave guy, so I love the neon light thing. I love the neon light stuff. I love like the colors and how the lights look in the dark and stuff like that. I love that. Like, I love this transformation sequence. So he starts fighting the monster and he's mollywopping him. Like, he's complete hand-to-hand combat, and I love that. Like, I loved it. I knew he was gonna be hand-to-hand. Well, base form is gonna be hand-to-hand. But yeah, he's like completely in control. He's completely controlling the dream. He's able to increase his strength by adding strength to a body part. Like, he'll make his arm buff, and he'll make his arm like buff, not like silly buff, but like he'll make his arm like flex really big. He'll punch him, or he'll flex his legs and kick him, or he'll like, you know, he's doing a lot of parkour, a lot of flips and stuff like that. And it's really dope fighting this monster. And then he ends up slinging him, because the monster tries to throw chains at him, and he grabs the chains and he slings the monster, and he makes the monster go through a bunch of freaking parts of the world. Like, he goes through the ocean, lava, a forest. Like, he makes him go through all this stuff. And then we finally get the 777 rider kick, and that rider kick was really good, especially the 777 at the end, because 3 sevens, or 7 itself, is supposed to be a lucky number. So maybe he's the most lucky when he's in his dreams, you know. And what I thought was, after he defeats the monster, the episode ends. Like, the credits start to roll, and then he ends up waking up. He wakes up back in the hospital, and he looks on his chest, and he sees that the driver's real. Like, he thought it was all a dream, but he's talking to his sister, and you know, she's like, yeah, I had a bad dream, but I helped somebody. And his sister, you know, she's starting to like show a little bit more support and stuff like that. And we actually see the 2 cops, and they're talking to each other, and you know, the cop was like, he's the one telling her that like these things are being caused by nightmares, like these accidents being caused by nightmares, and she doesn't believe it at first. And you know, he's like, hey, these nightmares and things like that are real, like these things are really happening. And he's actually peeking into Zetz's like room, and we also see our villain guy who's walking through the hospital, and he causes a vase of Oz to like fall, but nothing happens. But he causes a vase to fall, and most likely another nightmare has just been released. But Zeztz looks on his chest, and he sees the driver on his chest, and he has a phone, and he has the little balls, the little balls that he puts, the main one, the little red ball that he puts in the driver. And he starts to freak out a little bit, because he's like, oh, it wasn't a dream, holy crap. But yeah, episode ends right there. And next episode, he seems like he's going up against a nightmare monster that's, you know, a bomb, and he's gonna have to try and stop a bombing. But man, this first episode, you know, the first episode is always like a really big, bombastic, you know, showing off everything that it can do, and you know, stuff like that in the first episode, and introducing our characters, and introducing our main character, and some of like the cast that we have so far. And I liked it. I like this. I really like this. I really want to see how far. I really want to see like what other creative things they're gonna do, especially when it comes down to like dreamscape types of things. I want to see the ideas and concepts they're gonna come up with when it comes down to fighting in the dream world. You know, I'm really looking forward to that. And also, one question I have that for you guys: how is he gonna team up with other writers? If he has a team up, how is he gonna team up with other writers? Can he henshin? We don't know yet. We don't know. It's still the first episode. We don't know if he can say like henshin in the real world, or his sister's gonna see him transform and stuff. We don't know if he can henshin in the real world, but maybe, I don't know. But other than that, I thought Kamen Rider Zeztz episode 1 was pretty good. I was thoroughly interested in what's going on, and yeah, I'm just looking. I'm simple, you know. It doesn't take a lot to make me think something's cool. Right now, I think Zeztz is cool, and I think I'm liking. We didn't really get much of like what the story is about. We just got introduced to the concept of how the show is actually going to be like running and stuff. But with that being said, I'm done yapping. With that being said, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I thoroughly do appreciate it. And make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And, check out, if you want more Kamen Rider stuff, check me out, man. I'm a nice guy. But with that being said, I'm going to see you guys next time. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. As I always say, stay henshined.